Let's jump right in. Today, we're taking the mystery out of app development and mapping out your exact journey from an absolute beginner to a professional developer. So, if you've ever had this dream of building gorgeous, lightning-fast apps that run everywhere, well, you're in the right place. In this explainer, we're breaking down the complete Google Flutter development course blueprint from Fair's solution, giving you the exact roadmap you need.
Think of this agenda as our architectural blueprint. We'll be moving step by step. First up, the cross-platform revolution. Then laying our Dart foundation, building up with widgets, wiring it all together with state, connecting to the real world, and finally, mapping out your personal journey to mastery.
Okay, Part 1, the cross-platform revolution. We're breaking down the old barriers of mobile development here.
Right off the bat, we have to talk about the massive headache of traditional app development. Back in the day, if you wanted your app on both iPhones and Androids, you literally had to hire two entirely separate teams, one writing Swift for Apple, another doing Kotlin or Java for Android. It was incredibly expensive and honestly a huge time sink. But Flutter, it completely changes the game. It's this brilliant cross-platform UI toolkit from Google that lets you write just one single code base, but still get that super smooth, near-native performance.
When you look at why Flutter wins, it's pretty much the silver bullet for rapid deployment. Because it compiles directly to native machine code, you get this buttery smooth feel. But the absolute best part, it's something called hot reload. This is a total game changer. It lets you tweak your code and see the changes instantly on your screen without losing what you were just doing in the app. It makes the whole design process incredibly fast and honestly just a lot of fun.
Moving right along to Part 2, laying the Dart foundation. This is the unbreakable concrete of your application. Before we start framing the walls of our app, we need a solid base, right? For Flutter, that foundation is the Dart programming language. It's a highly modern, strongly typed language. That means the exact type of a variable is known right when you compile the code, which is fantastic because it catches silly errors early on, way before the app even gets to run on a phone.
And there's a huge feature here. Since Dart 2.12, null safety is enabled by default. Now, what does that actually mean for us? Well, in older languages, if your code accidentally tried to access a variable that was empty, or null, the whole app would just crash. Boom. Done. Dart forces you to explicitly say if a variable is allowed to be empty. It literally wipes out an entire category of those frustrating, unexpected crashes right from day one.
Now for Part 3, building blocks, specifically widgets, which are how we frame the entire structure of the app.
If there's one thing you need to remember about Flutter, it's this. Absolutely everything is a widget. I'm talking about a simple text label, a layout container, the padding, even the application itself. They're all immutable descriptions of the user interface. You essentially build your UI by stacking these widgets together into what's called a widget tree, combining simple little pieces like rows and columns into really complex, beautiful screens. It's basically like snapping together digital Lego bricks.
And the way Flutter renders all this is just fascinating. You've got this pipeline starting with your widget tree, which is the blueprint of what you want. Then, Flutter automatically builds an element tree to manage the life cycle and track any updates. Finally, the render object tree jumps in to do the heavy lifting, figuring out the exact sizes and painting the actual pixels onto the screen. Understanding how these three trees interact is your secret weapon for making glitch-free, lightning-fast interfaces.
Okay, Part 4, wiring it up. Let's talk about state and how we actually bring this UI to life. Think of state as your app's electrical system. Without it, you've just got an empty shell. Sure, it looks pretty, but you flip a switch and nothing happens. State dictates how tapping a button in one place triggers an action somewhere else. Imagine tapping Add to Cart on Amazon and instantly seeing that little cart icon update with a number. That is state at work. It's just the dynamic data your app needs right in that specific moment.
Now, figuring out how to manage that data flow, you've got some great options. For really simple local changes, Flutter has a built-in tool called setState, which is super easy to use. But as your app grows, you're going to need something a bit more robust. Mastering a modern, medium complexity tool like Riverpod is absolutely recommended for a professional setup today. And if you're building a massive enterprise app with incredibly strict business logic, you might reach for something heavier like Block. There's a tool for every job.
Which brings us to Part 5, connecting to the world. This is the plumbing and utilities for your app.
So your app needs to talk to the outside world, right? Enter Firebase. This is essentially Google's ultimate utility grid. It gives you all these core backend services without you having to code a backend from scratch. It handles super secure user authentication, like logging in with an email or Google account, gives you a real-time cloud Firestore database, handles file storage, and even takes care of push notifications right out of the box.
It's a massive time saver.
But of course, a professional app also needs to hook into standard APIs. This is how your app reads, creates updates, and deletes data on remote servers out there on the web. By combining Firebase with standard REST APIs and JSON data, your app can literally talk to any service on the internet. You'll learn how to manage network delays, parse data safely into Dart, and keep everything totally secure with authorization tokens.
And finally, Part 6, your journey to mastery. It is time to hand over the keys to your new career. So what does this actual learning path look like? Well, with about 180 to 220 hours of dedicated practice, you can literally transform from a total beginner into an engineer pushing production-ready code. The first 4 weeks are all about locking in that Dart syntax and snapping basic widgets together. Weeks 5 through 8 get into the nitty-gritty, responsive design, screen navigation, and that all-important state management we talked about. Then, the final month, that's when you hook up the APIs, databases, Firebase, and finally deploy your app to the real world.
And the ultimate payoff for all that hard work? 6. That is the staggering number of different platforms you can deploy to using the exact skills you just learned. We're talking Android, iOS, web, Windows, macOS, and Linux. No extra teams. You write your codebase once, and you can instantly conquer 6 distinct software marketplaces. It's incredible.
So there you have it. You've got the exact blueprint to become a professional cross-platform developer. The tools are ready, the roadmap is laid out, and the whole future of app development is sitting right there in your hands. The only question left is, what are you going to build first? For more, visit our website, Fair Solution.